I'm in my early 30s and I stopped saving for retirement.
No more money. Starting when?
Yes, you heard that right. I'm not putting a single dime into my retirement accounts. And I'll tell you why and how you can figure out if you might be able to do the same. I think we've all seen the discourse floating around about ditching the 9 to 5, like this headline where will.i.am says work-life balance is, quote, working for someone else's dream and not for visionaries. Maybe this is just a fleeting micro trend amplified by our algorithms, but one thing is real. Preparing for retirement early can give you agency, which means more choices in the present, like where you work or how much you have to work. I'm really fortunate. I like my job and I've had a stable 9 to 5 income for nearly a decade now. But when it comes to all of our livelihoods, we're living in the era of the great risk shift. In America, we've moved toward an individualistic approach to economic risk, expecting people to go it alone rather than relying on shared systems of support. Our retirement plans are now our responsibility. Gone are the days when you could age and grow weary and retire with a pension or reliable Social Security. In the post-war period, corporations generated steady profits, invested in their employees, and experimented and innovated, in part because they were far less beholden to shareholders, explains labor historian Louis Hyman. But by the 70s and 80s, something shifted. Companies began seeing pensions as liabilities.
Fuck Merrill Lynch, fuck them. Why should they be taking all our fucking money all the fucking time? This way we become the underwriters.
They replaced them with 401ks and wiped their hands of any long-term responsibility. In Can't Even, How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation, author Anne Helen Peterson sums up this shift, writing, "In the current iteration of capitalism, the vast majority of employees do not benefit in any way from the profits that the company creates for its shareholders. In fact, those profits are often contingent upon workers' suffering." She adds that this shift in financial priorities from long-term growth to short-term stock price spikes helped create the increasingly shitty and alienated workplace we now know. So it's no wonder that millennials and Gen Z are caught in a sea of financial uncertainty. Gen Z women are saving for retirement more than ever, while millennials are stuck in retirement panic. A 2019 study from Boston College found millennials were well behind Gen X and boomers at the same point in their careers. We've lived through one economic upheaval after another, and it's made many of us skeptical, if not jaded. For me, the first step was figuring out my enough number. That number is going to look different for everyone depending on what you make and spend now and how you expect that to change in the future. At the time, I was spending about $100,000 a year, so that's the income I aim to replicate in retirement. If you're earning around the median US income, say $50,000, you probably don't need $100,000 a year in retirement. If you're not spending that much today, it's unlikely that your expenses will suddenly double later. So let's run the numbers with this Coast-Fire calculator. I'm setting my monthly contribution to 0 because I've chosen to pause saving, and I'm using a 10% expected growth rate, which reflects historical US stock market returns. Here's what the calculator tells me. If I want $100,000 a year starting at age 67, I need to have about $268,087 invested today. That amount will grow over the next 30 years into a portfolio that can sustain me. And once I hit that number, I technically don't need to contribute another cent. Right now, I have about $290,000 saved to retirement, so I'm pausing. Hitting this milestone has been a huge relief. It's proof that there's more than one way to build financial security, and sometimes that means giving yourself the freedom to pause and refocus on other financial priorities, and I'll be talking more about those in upcoming videos. Let me know in the comments, have you ever considered pausing retirement contributions? Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.